Well, good day, everybody. This is Chris with the Ancient Scholar. I hope you're doing well. Just wanted to give you a quick update. Here I am back in my hotel room here at Gainesville, Florida. I've just completed my week of comprehensive final examinations. I flew in on Monday, and then on Tuesday, I was able to get on campus. I was able to get over to the hospital, Shands Hospital, the large teaching center. It's associated with the University of Florida, and actually connected to Shands is a biomedical research center, a large complex, and then another complex called the HPNP, the Health Nursing and Health Professions Complex, which contains the pharmacy, the Department of Pharmacy, and specifically the forensic science, group, for lack of better words. A little brain fried right now. The forensic science department, which manages the clinical toxicology, well, the pharmaceutical sciences, and then within that you have within the master's program, the pharmaceutical science program, there are different specializations or focus areas. There's clinical toxicology, there's forensic toxicology, pharmaceutical chemistry, and a couple of others, and I was in the clinical toxicology track. So figured out where all that was on Tuesday, got my car parking sorted out, recon the area, and then on Wednesday we had our day of orientation. We got to meet I got to meet my advisor. I've been working with my advisor for a while now because we're doing some research together, but I got to meet him. I got to meet the head of the department as well, and then we did a comprehensive review of some of the major concepts that would be covered in the exams. They talked about how the exams would work out. And then we did some practice oral scenarios, and then talked about how to set up the written essay exam. And that was basically all morning. We had a lunch break. We came back and spent the rest of the day and into the night studying and preparing the best we could. And then let's see here, that brings us to today. So started off in the morning, and the first thing in the morning I had this little guy here that I had to get through. Ooh, all right. Well, obviously I can't talk about specific questions, but this is the essay examination, and it contains 5 different questions. They're pretty complex questions. One of them was a complex scenario involved in taking care of a gentleman, a patient who had very specific signs and symptoms, some history. Basically, I had to identify the toxidrome, and then I had to identify the pathophysiology of the toxidrome, including receptors and representative substances that could cause a toxidrome, and then of course the standard workup and standard treatment, and then compare and contrast that with the other toxidromes. I had a question about drug development and research, and the setting up clinical trials, and what means what, and so on and so forth. I had another scenario on a specific commonly overdosed, commonly encountered agent. I had to talk about the pharmacokinetics of the agent in very specific detail, how it's absorbed, where it's absorbed, how it's distributed, what's its volume distribution, what's its bioavailability, how is it metabolized, the phase 1 versus phase 2 metabolic pathways, sulfation, glucuronidation, the specific cytochrome P450 enzymes, involved in the minor pathways. And then I had to talk about the production of the toxic metabolite, how that metabolite exerts its toxicity, how that metabolite is quote-unquote neutralized physiologically, and what happens in overdose situation, that what can lead to the accumulation of the toxic metabolite, what it does, how it's treated, the progression. There are different phases of progression of this particular toxicology, and I had to talk about the time course. I had to talk about measuring serum levels and the nomograms that are used to guide treatment decisions. And then let's see, another case was a complex case involving polysubstance use, and specifically certain interactions among agents. Again, I can't really be specific. I can't talk about specific questions or scenarios, but it was specific interactions, some complex syndromes that developed, how to assess, how to manage those syndromes, what neurotransmitters are involved, what neurotransmitter systems are involved, how to stabilize and treat these particular syndromes, and the metabolites, in at least one case, metabolites that can interact with the seizure threshold. Let's see here, some discussion about rhabdomyolysis as well, and how to treat that. And then the fifth scenario involved overdose of a known substance, and the substance causes a particular toxidrome, and basically I had to do a discussion of the major metabolites of this agent and how this agent's pharmacokinetics are unique when compared to other representative agents in the category, and that in the category that these particular agents belong to, the general category. And really what it came down to was the lipophilicity, how lipophilic certain agents are, and how they're able to penetrate the central nervous system barriers as a result of the lipophilicity, and comparing and contrasting lipophilic, hydrophilic substances, and metabolism to active metabolites. This is what specific metabolites, etc. Again, I can't really go into any more detail on that. So those are the 5 questions. And so I ended up handwriting. It had to be a handwritten essay. So you can see, I'll just flash this real quick. So handwritten, this is 10 or 11, 11 pages, 11 pages of handwritten essays. And that was, took all morning. And then I had a break. A little lunch break. I actually went out, took a walk, relaxed. It's beautiful down here in Gainesville. There's swamps, and the campus of University of Florida is just gorgeous. So there are like little forests. So it was a really nice walk. And then I came back, and we had a large multiple choice examination. The examination covered core courses that I had to take. So biostatistics and epidemiology was a big focus of it. Toxic substances, assessment, treatment, pharmacokinetics, pharmacodynamics, receptors, you name it, it's all on there. Let's see here, biotransformation, molecular mechanism of toxicity, lab, QA, QI, research considerations as well. All that was contained within this large exam. It was particularly heavy in the biostatistics and Ultimately, that was where I struggled a little bit on on that examination. There were some questions that I perhaps just hadn't anticipated, such as I can't give specific examples, but it involved calculating certain concepts using 2x2 tables and Bayes' theorem, and those kinds of provincial details, confidence intervals and p-values, and comparing and contrasting to them, and some fine details regarding attack rates, incidence, prevalence, and how they're calculated, and so on and so forth. So I struggled in that particular section of the exam. I have to be honest. Biostatistics is not probably one of my weaker areas. And then I had another break after that. And generally what would happen was the next day, the following day, I would, which would be tomorrow. Well, it's today now. It's after midnight now. But I'd go in for my oral examination, where I'd go in front of the board and they would ask me questions. Again, a variety of topics could come up that are relevant to clinical toxicology. They asked me a little bit about the research that I'm doing, my advisor as well, that came up. Again, I can't really talk about that in any detail. But what happened was they offered to actually do the boards today, and I ended up, just staying over late, and it was just a really long, brutal day, and I opted to do that just to have it done and over with, and then I have tomorrow off to either cry or to get out and celebrate. And so what was the outcome of all of this in the last almost 2.5 years that I've been working this degree? The outcome is that I successfully negotiated the overall experience. There were, areas where I struggled, but the overall score was within the passing range. And so it was recommended that I receive the Master of Science, Master's in Pharmaceutical Science, with a concentration in clinical toxicology. So I have just a couple of other things I need to finish up with. I'm waiting for a few more assignments to get graded in one of my classes. I have a large literature review project that's at about 70-page paper that I had to do. I'm still waiting for an official grade on that, but my advisor tells me that it's looking okay. So unofficially at this point, I have the go-ahead to say that I have completed the requirements for the Master of Science degree, and I'll be back in May for graduation. So I know I don't look very excited, and that's just because I'm really just pretty tired, but it's definitely a big burden that's off of me now. I'm very happy to have gotten through it, and to have gotten through it successfully. But I wanted to just share that experience with you guys, and as always, thanks for hanging in there.